All right. So a lot of you have been asking, what can I do to bring my grade up? Is there any way you can give extra credit? Which I usually don't do. However, I'm going to make the exception because the extra credit I'm about to offer will go along with what we're going to start working on, which is William Shakespeare, his plays, and his sonnets. And so this PowerPoint is going to help you prepare for a 50 to 100 point extra credit project. I haven't quite figured it out yet, and I haven't put the rubric together. I'm just giving you a start on this since we only have about 2.5 weeks left of classes till the end of the semester. So most of you know that Shakespeare wrote plays, comedies, tragedies, histories, but he also wrote sonnets, which is a type of poetry. He also wrote a lot of his plays in the same manner that he wrote his poetry, his sonnets. So what I would like you to do with this video is to take notes on it so that you have the information you need about sonnets in order to write a sonnet for extra credit. You'll have to write it and decorate it, kind of like what we did in September where you decorated some poetry. And I have it like placed out in my hallway and in my room, some of the top ones that were really well done. So you guys will have an opportunity to write a sonnet and decorate it for extra credit. It will be worth between 50 and 100 points. So let's get on and see what sonnets are all about. First of all, what makes up a sonnet? It has to be 14 lines. 14 lines of poetry. Not only does it have to be 14 lines long, but it needs to be written in iambic pentameter. Sounds difficult, but it's not so difficult once you understand what is iambic pentameter. So, first of all, the 14 lines are divided up into 3 quatrains, and a quatrain has 4 lines in it, and then 2 couplets. No, 1 couplet. 1 couplet which has 2 lines in it, okay? So you have 3 quatrains, 4 lines, 4 lines, 4 lines. And then it finishes off with a couplet, 2 lines. So, what's the rhyme scheme? If you look at the first quatrain, the first and third lines have to rhyme. And the second and the fourth lines have to rhyme. So that gives it an A-B rhyme scheme. The first and the third lines rhyme. The second and the fourth lines rhyme. So if you look at the second quatrain, lines 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the poem, they have the same rhyme scheme. But this time it's going to be called CD, CD. But it's still the first and the third lines of that quatrain rhyme, and the second and the fourth lines of that quatrain rhyme. And then your final quatrain, which are, let's see, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 9, 10, 11, and 12. I don't teach math. 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, again, the first and the third lines rhyme, the second and the fourth lines rhyme. And this time the rhyme scheme is going to be E, F, E, F. I had to think. So we have A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F. And then your last 2 lines, that couplet, they have to rhyme. G, G. They have the same rhyme scheme. All right. Now, so you have 14 lines. And then your rhyme scheme goes A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, G, G, 3 quatrains and a couplet. In each line, you can only have 10 syllables. 10 syllables. That's it, in each line. All 14 lines, every single one of those lines, 10 syllables. All right? Now, here's the tricky part. After you've written your line, so if you write a line of 10 syllables, then I want you to draw like a line after every second syllable so that you divide that line up into 5 feet. Each foot has 2 syllables in it. Each foot has 2 syllables in it. I'm going to do an example on the next slide, okay? In each foot, the second syllable of every foot has to have the accent. It has to have the stress. So it'll go like ba-boom, 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 like a heartbeat. Bump, 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 bump. My music and band students understand what I'm talking about, okay? And that's how the line would be read. Bump, 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 bump. Second syllable of each foot is the one that gets the accent or the stress. So because there are 5 feet in a line, each foot has 2 syllables, 5 feet in a line, it's called a pentameter line. So you have 10 syllables, divide that into 5 feet, and that equals an iambic pentameter line. Let's look at an example. Shakespeare's "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?" I took the first line. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? I took that 10-syllable line and I put a slash mark after every second syllable. And I set it so that the second syllable of every foot is the one that gets the stress, the one that gets the accent, the beat, the heavier beat in the line. Then if you look at the whole poem, okay, day and May rhyme, so they each get an A. Temperate and date, I know it's kind of, and back in the day they might have said it the same, but those are a rhyme. It's an approximate rhyme at least. Then you go to line 5. Shines and declines rhyme, so they each get a C. Dimmed, untrimmed rhyme, so they each get a D. Fade and shade each rhyme, so they get an E. Owest and growest rhyme, so they get Fs. And the last 2 lines, C and D, rhyme. They're a couplet, so they each get a G. So we have the A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G rhyme scheme. Every single one of those lines have 10 syllables. Look at the second line. Thou art more lovely and more temperate. 10 syllables. Thou art more lovely and more temperate. There's the beat when you put it into 5 feet. So you have your iambic pentameter. You have 14 lines. Each line has 10 syllables. Divide those 10 syllables into 5 feet. Put the accent on the second syllable of each foot when you're saying it. And the rhyme scheme has to fit the rhyme scheme you see here. So it's a sound pattern. An iamb is one unaccented or unstressed syllable followed by an accented one with a heartbeat-like rhythm. And you have 5 of those babooms in each line. That's a foot. So example, he went to town today to buy a car. Or, in Shakespearean times, in sooth, I know not why I am so sad. So why go to all this trouble? Because using iambic pentameter kept things moving back in the day. It gave it a rhythm. It gave it some pace. It made it easier for the actors to memorize with the rhythm. Like songs tend to be easier to memorize than plays because of the rhythm. All right? And so it just made it interesting and easier for the actors. Lastly, Shakespeare wrote his plays in blank verse, which is unrhymed iambic pentameter. Exactly what I showed you in the sonnet, only there's no rhyme scheme. He started this new craze. It was a big deal back then. Okay, except for my final slide. When Shakespeare set his words to iambic pentameter, it's kind of compared to like the birth of rock and roll. He was mixing old styles and new styles, especially once he went to blank verse. So that's what you need to take notes on. If you need to go back through so that you understand what a sonnet is. And so that when I give you the opportunity to write a sonnet and decorate it for extra credit, if you want to do that, you can. All right. There you go. Have a good night.